Review copy provided by PlayStation.
We're going to stop him as long as we work together. Speaking of, mind giving me a hand up here?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, Pete. Yeah, I got this.
Take it away, Capo.
Marvel's Spider-Man set benchmarks on the PlayStation 4 for its creative superhero combat, thrilling traversal, and slick open world. Fresh from this recent success, Insomniac swings onto the PlayStation 5 with a closer look at Peter Parker's new protege, Miles Morales. The standalone sequel maintains the same winning focus on acrobatic web-slinging and playful superpowers, telling another heartfelt story set in a vibrant, next-gen version of New York.
Swinging through the kingdom in the night.
Although Miles was playable in the previous game, this is the first time he's really handled a case all on his own. With Peter out of the country on a business trip with Mary Jane, Miles has to save the city while trying to make a name for himself that's not just the other Spider-Man. Familiar friends and family return from the 2018 game, like his mother Rio, but lots of new characters enter the picture as well, giving Miles his own personal chapter that doesn't get hung up on the events of the past. The string of missions is definitely shorter compared to the first game, but the events are just as poignant, and Miles is more than capable of carrying his own campaign.
How are the streets, Spider-Man?
Honestly, kind of terrifying.
There are a handful of nods to the first game, but thankfully, it's not necessary viewing. And even if you've seen the animated movie Into the Spider-Verse, there are still plenty of faces you may not recognize. There are new activities scattered across the entire city, but the bulk of the big missions happen in Harlem. Some of the twists and relationships feel a little too convenient, but the sequence of events doesn't have as much time to breathe as Peter's did. Despite coming at a quicker pace, the 8 to 10 hour story presents new and deadly threats, and anyone attached to the first game will surely appreciate where this chapter goes. Any devotion to the PS4 exclusive might also sadly present an emotional hurdle when you're reintroduced to Peter Parker following his facelift for PS5. Miles plays the lead role here, but Peter shows up in a few cutscenes and occasionally calls from overseas to check on things. The actor swap has zero effect on the gameplay or story, and yet it's impossible to ignore for anyone obsessed with the first game. It's odd, but at least we have this shorter game to ease the transition before we continue with Insomniac's plans for Peter in this new generation. Zipping around the city and beating up criminals as Miles definitely feels like there's someone else in the suit this time. Miles has a more rambunctious style to his web swings and takedowns. As he gets in more and more fights, Miles develops new electrically fueled venom powers that pack more of a punch than anything Peter could pull off before. You activate these by holding down L1 and pressing various face buttons, and you access the gadget wheel by holding down R1 now instead. These shock attacks can stun a group of targets or a single enemy, but it takes a while to build up the energy they require. Your skill tree is divided into combat, venom, and camouflage paths, with fewer options overall because Miles only levels up to 20, compared to Peter's cap of 50. Some bad guys use countermeasures to block these new abilities, and Miles only acquires 4 gadgets compared to Peter's arsenal of 8, so it all balances out in terms of each character's power and versatility. Miles can practice his new talents at challenge stations that Peter set up before he left town. Completing these challenges unlocks new moves, regardless of your score, making them more essential than the completionist distractions they were previously. There are a number of other activities scattered across the map as well, including scanning for sound effect samples, recovering time capsule relics, collecting tech points so you can make new suits, and clearing villain hideouts and secret labs. The map's borders remain the same as the first Manhattan Island on PS4, but there are lots of new interiors you get to visit.
In a world where only 2 men can see the future, only they can stop it.
All right, gotta focus.
To streamline the process of making yourself available to the citizens who need you the most, Miles takes advantage of an app that lists smaller tasks that are separate from the main plot. There's still side missions you can finish that pop up at specific points in the campaign, but all of these feel much more closely tied to the current events than they did before. So friendly neighborhood errands like replacing stolen Christmas toys and aggressively capturing lost pigeons are now relegated to their own list, and they offer a nice boost of XP and upgrade tokens whenever you need a break from the story. The greatest time saver, however, is the exquisite load times. In just a few seconds, Miles is jogging out of whatever subway stop is closest to your next objective. Combined with his natural travel speed, you can access points of interest on this open-world map faster than most. The change in seasons brings a warmth to the New York interiors and a frosty layer of snow covering parks and rooftops. And the weather becomes nearly blinding as a growing storm sweeps over the city. The game also makes strong use of the PlayStation 5's adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, giving actions as simple as webbing around buildings more tactile depth than before, and creating clever new rumble moments like feeling the pulse of the tracks as Miles rides the subway.
Now get back to your winter break. We'll see you when school starts back up.
All right.
Obviously, we're covering the Spider-Man's incredible takedown of Rhino.
Subscribe. DanaCast, new favorite podcast.
Whether you're taking in the details up close or soaring over the freezing skyline, Spider-Man Miles Morales looks and performs better than the first game in every way. It's clearly setting the stage for a massive sequel, but this is more than just a stopgap between generations. The struggles that Miles faces and the fears that he conquers to become a hero on his own terms make this short but sweet side story memorable and meaningful. It's an unmissable adventure for any Spider fan that can't wait for a second chance to suit up.
Let's get out of here, Spider-Man.
Our full impressions of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are now online. Take a look to find out what we think of the controllers, interfaces, and all the new features. All of our videos are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies and consider becoming a patron to help us make more. Review copy provided by PlayStation.